Not this girl realizing that there is a fabric. This is my least favorite part of the whole process, which is... Okay, so this is how the dress is looking right now. I'm liking that. Hi guys, welcome back to another sewing video. I'm finally able to film sewing videos again. So today I'm going to make the Shirred dress. I'm probably a little bit late to the trend. I actually wanted to make this dress like 2 years ago, but I wasn't sure about the fabrics that I had, so I did not end up making it. But recently I have acquired a really beautiful fabric that I thought would be perfect actually for this dress, and it is this navy blue and pink pinstripe fabric. This has cat hair all over it because my cat likes to sleep on it, but that's okay. It's already washed, so I'm gonna wash it again. So anyway, I have already made a mock-up. So this was the mock-up that I made. I watched a lot of like DIY videos for like this particular dress. One thing I didn't really like was that I didn't like that most people actually left like the neckline as is, like as in they just did kind of like a bias tape, or like usually they just fold in and then they just left it as is. So I didn't really like that. I preferred something that was a little bit more like fitted around the neckline. So I added an elastic here like this, as you can tell. And then for the armholes, I went with like bias binding. Also for the neckline, I decided to go with something more of like a boat neck. I actually have a boat neck top that I did use to kind of like trace the neckline and the armhole. So that works for me, and the fit is actually really perfect. So I am going to show you how I made this. So let's get started with the cutting of the fabric. Before we start cutting the fabric, there's 3 measurements you want to take. The first measurement is the length of how long you want the dress to be, plus 2 cm seam allowance top and bottom. The second measurement is the length from the shoulder to where you want the shirring to end. And the last measurement is your bust measurements, and then take your bust measurements and divide by 2 plus 15 cm. That gives you the width of the front and the back panels. Not this girl realizing that there is a fabric on the floor came out from her very secret hiding spot to sit on it. And then now she's going back to her hiding spot. This is my least favorite part of the whole process, which is actually drawing the lines, because for some reason I can never get it perfectly straight. But I'm gonna do 42 cm from the top down. One thing to note is that when you're actually measuring your shirring length, you want to add about 2 cm to the total length, because you're going to actually need the extra length for the shoulder seams. So I highly recommend adding about 2 cm additional to the length for a little bit more of like a buffer. So for this one, I actually did 1 shirring line every cm, and then I skip about 2 cm, and then I do the next 3. So I'm going to basically repeat this pattern on this fabric. All the lines have been drawn. It's kind of nice. It looks like Indian plaid a little bit. Now I'm going to do my shirring lines. I am going to cut out a piece of scrap fabric to test. I have my bobbin here. So what I do is I will wind the shirring thread around here with a little bit of tension. Okay, so what I do is I have my spool of shirring, which I will actually put on my machine's the spool holder. And then what I do is, most bobbin will actually have this little tiny hole, so I will thread this through the hole, and then I will leave like a little tail out, which will need to be cut off later before you put into the machine. So I will actually spool it like that by pulling a little bit, and then that creates a bit of tension when I wind the bobbin with the thread. And then I just keep doing until I will have a full roll of bobbin. So as you can tell, this did not share, so I am testing different settings just to see if it works again. I don't know what is going on. The shirring is finally working, and I think the problem was that the bobbin tension that I wounded just now was not the correct tension. I think it was either too tight or a little bit too loose, so you really gotta test with this. So basically I have just shirred everything, and there is quite a bit of loose threads here because sometimes the bobbin kind of like ends in the middle, so I have to start a new line. What I'm doing now is that I'm going to take a needle and thread these long threads on the other side, and then I'm going to tie it on the back side, so it's not so messy with all these loose threads, and it's also a little bit more secure to keep it. And then kind of like towards the end, I think the shirring got looser and looser. I think I didn't wind the bobbin up properly again, but I figured that if I kind of like pull the bobbin a little bit and kind of like scrunch it up a little bit more, it will be a little bit tighter. So okay, so I've just pinned all the side seam. It is wrong sides facing right now because I am going to do a French seam. I also decided to leave a little slit at the bottom so that I can like walk easily. So I'm going to French seam the side seams, and then after French seaming I'm going to cut out the armholes and the neckline and everything. Also, the steam really made the shirring shrink a lot, and it looks so much more even and crisp now, I guess. So it's been quite a few days. I have not worked on this because I've been busy. But anyway, previously I actually did the part 1 of the French seam. So before I do the part 2 of the French seam, I'm actually going to cut out the neckline and the armholes. And to do that, I'm going to be using a top that I already have. Let me get that real quick. So this is the top that I'm going to be using to draft the neckline and the armholes, because I really like kind of like this boat neck thing. But of course it's not going to be this wide. When it's done, it will be a bit more like this rather than like a long one, because when it stretches, it will just stretch like this. You want to leave like a 1.5 cm space to the actual neckline. So I am going to actually cut it down around here. Okay. It's not gonna be that perfect, but so now I've got this thing. So I'm just going to do a quick clean up So before I flip the dress inside out to finish my French seam, I'm actually going to trim the edges down so that when I turn it inside out and finish up the French seam, I won't have like raw edges sticking out. So it is not the same day. I have off the camera sewed down the shoulder seams. So before I start French seaming everything, I'm just gonna try it on first, see if I like where this ends. Okay, so this is how the dress is looking right now. I'm liking the extra slit that I put in. I think it's really nice. And then I just need to French seam everything, including the shoulder seams. Everything else, I think the neckline is okay. It's a little bit like jagged, but that will be fixed after that. All the French seaming is done. I really like the finish for the French seam to the side slits. I'm gonna do the easy part first, which is to hem the dress, but after that the most difficult part would be actually to do the binding for the armhole as well as the elastic for the neckline. So I kind of found like a brown bias tape, which I think will probably go with. Anyway, it's going to be on the inside, so I don't really care. I am going to use this for the armholes first, and if there is not enough of this, then I'll make more bias tape for the neckline. I'm going to flip the garment inside out. Okay, so I'm going to take one edge of the bias tape. Once I have the bias tape, I'm going to fold it in like so, and then I'm going to start from the bottom part of the armhole, and then from here I'm going to pin it, clip it, whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to clip down the bias tape all around the armhole. And when you do that, you just want to make sure that you're not like stretching the fabric too much. Just keep it as little tension as possible. So now I'm going to trim down the excess bits of the blue, and then I'm going to fold it like this to cover the blue, and then I'm going to fold it again. I will also link the tutorial to the bias tape in the link below, so it's just easier if you want to reference it, because I am not a really good teacher when it comes to this. I can't explain things very well. So now this is the outside of the armhole, and this is the inside of the armhole. So it looks really neat like that. So I am going to finish up the other armhole, and then I will come back when it's time to do the collar. So I've decided to use this pink bias tape that I already had for this instead of cutting bias strips from this fabric, because number one, I'm lazy. Number two, I thought it would look extra cute matched with the brown and the blue and everything. Anyway, it's gonna be on the inside, so why not add a little bit of whimsy on the inside of the dress. One more thing that happened was that this part of my shirring came out, so I checked all the others and they were mostly fine. So I think I'm going to remove this shirring. So instead of doing what we did for the sleeves, for the armholes, we are going to take this whole strip, flip it inwards, so that the width of the bias tape is a little bit thicker, so that I have space to like thread through the elastic. Okay, disclaimer, I have not tried this. I didn't try this with the mock-up, so I don't know if it's going to work, but in my mind it does. So we're just going to try that. I'm going to sew it down and then I'll update again when it's time to insert the elastic. So what you want to do for the elastic is to make sure that you want to go around your neck. I'm wearing a t-shirt now, so you can't really see what I'm doing, but this is the round of the crew neck. So I want it to be slightly bigger than this. So it is now sitting kind of like around the crew neck. I want it to kind of like not be too tight, so I think this is good, so around here. And then you want to take the tiniest safety pin that you can find, and then you want to safety pin this elastic. So I've pinned my elastic, and then now through the hole that you have left behind, you want to thread this through. So on the other end of the elastic, you might want to clip it down so it doesn't go through the hole. But anyway, you want to keep threading, and then after you're done threading, you just gotta sew up where it meets.